up? How's it going? So, shout out to the Patreon and shout out to the patron who sent me forth on my next journey with the show, The Handmaid's Tale. Now, this one's interesting because for me, I know for a fact this would have been one of those shows. People have been telling me about it. I've seen all the ads for it. Hulu is like, watch this, watch this. But I would have said over and over, I'm going to get around to that, and just never got around to it. But now I've been given the goal to go ahead and watch this. And man, I'm interested in it now specifically because I don't know anything about it. I don't even know, you know what I mean? It's almost like when I started Westworld, I didn't know anything about it, what it was about. And that ended up being dope. This right here, I'm looking at how she's dressed, and then I'm looking at guys in combat gear, and they're holding weapons. So I can't, there's no way for me to tell what the hell this is going to be. But if it's going to be something that I've never seen before, that's going to have me guessing and, you know, sitting on the edge of my seat, I'm looking forward to that. So let's go ahead and start this. Season 1, Episode 1, The Handmaid's Tale. Let's go.
It's about 2 miles north. You said someone's gonna meet us. All right, go with mommy. What about you? No, it's all right. You go. Go, run, 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 run!
Kids, they will get you killed in a movie. Talking about mommy. You see us running. You can understand that we about to die. Mommy, death. We all dead.
Mommy, they're coming.
Oh, damn.
Please come here!
Trying to figure out what's this all about already.
A chair, table, a lamp. There's a window with white curtains, and the glass is shatterproof, but it isn't running away they're afraid of. Handmaid wouldn't get far. It's those other escapes, the ones you can open in yourself, given a cutting edge, or a twisted sheet and a chandelier.
Oh, I see what they're saying. It's you killing yourself they more worried about.
My name is Offred. I had another name, but it's forbidden now. So many things are forbidden now.
AKA whack.
This is your second posting, then?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. My last one was brand new. It was like training a dog, only not a very smart one.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't call me ma'am. You're not a Martha.
Don't call me ma'am. You're not a Martha.
Blessed be the fruit.
May the Lord open.
And Commander Waterford.
Oh, God.
Praise be to you.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
Apparently that's forbidden.
I want to see as little of you as possible. Do you understand? He is my husband. Until death do us part. Don't get any ideas. If I get trouble, believe me, I will give trouble back.
I hate someone already.
Rita makes the bread from scratch. It's the kind of thing they like the Marthas to do. A return to traditional values. That's what they fought for.
Always showing up when I'm in the midst of something.
Oh, that's...
Hold your horses.
She plays the pastor in Kim's Convenience.
I kind of want to tell her that I sincerely believe that Offglen is a pious little shit with a broomstick up her ass. Under his eye.
Under his eye.
Under his eye. That's how they say their goodbyes.
Low status, hasn't even been issued a woman.
Going shopping?
No, Nick, I'm gonna knock back a few at the Oyster House bar. You wanna come along? Maybe he's lonely. Maybe he watches me. Maybe he's an eye.
Said maybe he's an eye.
We go everywhere in twos. It's supposed to be for our protection, for companionship.
We've been sent good weather.
Which I receive with joy. The war is going well, I hear.
By his hand.
This is part of the process. I say something, I got to see if you still on board, if you waver it in any way. You know what I mean? She says anything wrong, I'm sure that chick is going to go snitch, you know? Like, I just like how they did that right there. You can see it on their faces. She's like, let me watch my tongue, you know, like.
We've defeated more of the rebels. They had a stronghold in the Blue Hills. We smoked them out.
The Blue Hills.
Praise be.
Already, I got sort of an idea. Did a cult gain power? Boy, this world's so lame.
Your mistress likes oranges.
Make sure she knows you got them. Don't let Martha take the credit.
Under Commander Waterford's. He's really high up. His name's in the news.
I didn't read it, I promise.
We should get some oranges.
She out here reading? They about to snitch on her. Look at her face. She's like, oh, I'm about to get the lash. Some people got crucified. Just straight up, huh? I guess he's a heretic, huh?
Priest, a doctor, a gay man. I think I heard that joke once. This wasn't the punchline.
They filled the air with chemicals and radiation and poison. So God whipped up a special plague. As birth rates fell, they made things worse.
We're getting
Just
so
so they could
close
have
to
their
this.
orgies.
Oh,
Tinder.
what's her name? Samira Wiley, I think that's her name.
All right, I'll be right there. I'll be right there. She just said, let's go to church.
Oh, did she? What's her name? You don't know her name, do you?
Moira, come on!
Write your paper.
He left you intact for a biblical purpose. Like Bila served Rachel. You girls will serve the leaders of the faithful and their barren wives. You will bear children for them.
Oh!
Welcome to the friggin' loony bin, right?
Welcome to the Rachel and Leah Center. Up.
Fuck you.
Blessed are the meek, dear.
Why I'm laughing? She just touched her like.
Knife front! Where do your hands belong? This may not seem ordinary to you right now. This will become ordinary.
I tried to run
They got them living in squad bays.
with her.
Just gotta keep your head down. All this crazy shit is gonna end and then we'll find her.
So women who could bear children will bear children for families.
What about Odette?
She was rounded up in one of the dyke purges, sent to the colony.
Moira, what'd they do to her?
If my right eye offends, they pluck it out.
Oh my goodness. They just using random passages from the Bible, not no context, just out of order, and just using it as a way to get away with doing shit.
The boys just kept coming down into the basement. Hours, it felt like. I don't know, 2, maybe 3 at a time. I knew most of them from school. I just couldn't believe they were doing it. It was actually happening.
That's a hell of a way to break them and make them see the light. And I'm using that like that. And come to your side. Like, see how wicked the world was before? But you're making them relive that in front of everybody. That's fucked up, man.
And who led them on? Whose fault was it?
It got even worse. And I should have saw that coming because we know how they believe. If she didn't dress that way.
Whose fault was it, girls?
Her fault. Her fault. Her fault. Her fault. Her fault.
God damn.
Teach her a lesson. Teach her a lesson.
The knock is prescribed, because tonight this room is her domain.
Now let's get started.
This is not going where I think it's going, is it?
She said, behold.
Yep, it went to where I thought it would go. Boy, this shit weird as hell.
And she shall bear upon my knee.
Nigga is fully clothed. And then playing Onward Christian Soldier is... I don't like this. They really tried to make this like this was some holy event. They read a passage. They had the wife lay there. They stay fully clothed to make it seem like it's pure.
Get out.
The chances are better if I lay on my back afterward.
Just get out.
How are you? Good morning.
She might take her life.
Come on. How are you today?
You're not there anymore. That's all gone. They'll send you to the colonies. You'll be cleaning up toxic waste.
Some people would rather that.
That shit is contagious. You want to see your baby girl again? And you need to keep your fucking shit together.
Keep your fucking shit together.
That's like the one thing she remembered. Because I'm looking at her.
You saw me outside last night, but the eyes haven't come for me. There's no black van.
Where are you posted, Commander Ellis? Can't barely get it out. Have you heard about anyone? I saw Gabby a few months ago. She
Oh, look at this
had a
snitch.
miscarriage. Have you heard from where? No. Not since the Red Center.
Oh. She's dead.
Tried to run away. They caught her and they sent her to the colonies.
This man has been convicted of rape. The penalty for rape is death. This man raped a handmaid,
Nah, he fell in love with her or something like that.
and the baby died. Wings, you may come forward and form a circle.
I'm gonna keep it real. All that shit unnecessary. Just kill the motherfucker. What you got me out here for? Because all of this, the entire system is based on indoctrination and keeping their mindset where it is. Well, walk with me here. This is, by them, ingenious. It allows this group that they're treating as livestock to get their frustrations and anger out every once in a while. It also, as I said, is part of the indoctrination process. Hey, this is bad. This can never happen. I'm looking at her, right? She was in tears. She's like in this fucked up situation. And now look, she's taking it out. It's almost a decompression for their livestock every once in a while. Because remember, it's not livestock, it's humans who at some point are going to snap. But they're like, why not have them snap and it the same way it'd be part of their indoctrination? Which is, this is like some evil, wicked shit. They literally lynching them.
Have a nice day.
Bizarre.
So I think I'm pregnant.
What? Don't worry, getting pregnant is the hard part. That's what they're saying. And you did it.
I know 5 women at work have had miscarriages.
Yeah, well, that's not gonna happen to you. You got a good man. And you got me. No matter what happens, I'll be right here.
Moira, you knew her from the Red Center and before. This used to be an ice cream place. They had the most amazing salted caramel. It was better than sex.
I don't trust her. Trying to act
Like,
all non-pious.
Good sex. I always thought you were such a true believer. So are you. So freaking pious. They do that really well.
They sort of feel each other out. And they both, because they're trying to make sure the other one doesn't think they're blah, 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 they both see each other as pious. That's hilarious.
How old is your daughter? 8. She'd be 8. My wife and I had a son. They had Canadian passports. I didn't. I got caught at the airport. We tried to cross in Maine with my husband. They shot him. It was nice to finally meet you.
Oh, that's crazy. It was nice to finally meet you.
There's an eye in your house. Be careful.
Which one is it? Is it
Was
the
it
Martha
the
or is it the dude? I don't think it's that dude who was looking at her.
Rest for the weary. We'll join you for dinner.
Someone is watching. Someone is always watching. Nothing can change. It all has to look the same because I intend to survive for her. Her name is Hannah. My husband was Luke. My name is June.
First, let me start by saying don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, make sure to hit the notification bell. Shout out to all the new viewers. Shout out to all the subscribers. And I got a Patreon. If you like early and full-length reactions to things like this, check it out. Hey, the premise of this is simple. The synopsis, if I read it, I'll be like, oh, that's simple. But every place that this can go from this base, I'm interested in. Okay, so from the beginning, I'm like, who are they running from? Okay, we've seen that before. Running, I even made the joke, the kids will get you killed. Okay, they take her daughter from her, and then boom, we see her in a room. And she states something like, she lists off everything that's in the room, but she said they're not even worried about like you escaping physically. They worried about how you gonna try to leave yourself. And she listed off, ways to kill yourself. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. We already here, and she's dressed that way. Okay. So as we go through the show, the premise is things have gotten real bad. Nuclear fallout, all sorts of, things bad happening on the earth. And then we get to the last straw. I just got done watching Children of Men, by the way. And the final straw is basically people cannot reproduce. Now, we know, just based off real life, oftentimes when things get real bad, people will wrap themselves up in religion. And religious zealotry, it can keep going until we end up right here. Now, I remember watching Westworld, and I'm like, hey, man, this seems like right around the corner. A lot of the things that are happening. This doesn't seem like it's right around the corner, but I will say, I won't take it that far, but I will say that it seems as though they looked around and like, hey, man, a few puzzle pieces move in a certain way, we could be on the road to this, right? And what I did enjoy about this, and I said it is, streaming right now, I don't know if this is on I believe this is, let me check real quick, because I want to see if this is a streaming show or if this was on I believe this is Hulu's show. Oh, and this was a novel. Okay. But anyway, where I was going with this is, let's say it's not even just because it's streaming. Streaming has allowed us to have this sort of glut of stories that would have been taught. I'm pretty sure if you go ask a lot of these execs who've been around in the industry for a while, they'd be like, yeah, a lot of this shit would have never made it. But now we have so many spaces and so many people willing to try things out, right? Like I say, it starts with The Wire. For one, people didn't even realize, oh, y'all would watch a story like this where we don't care what you know, how you know it. We just gonna tell this story, and if we have something to say, you'll figure it out. If you don't, and then Breaking Bad comes along. I'm watching that right now, and I'm like, the writers are figuring out, oh, so we can get away with just writing like some fly writing. It doesn't have to be the same thing over and over. And while the networks seem to have hunkered down on, hey, we just gonna keep making police, fire, and hospital dramas. Streaming is like, hey, we can do all these various stories, and not just streaming, but let's say cable period, right? Because like FX, they've been putting in work. We had Sons of Anarchy, which is like, there was a time nothing like that would come on, and then you had the Shield, which I haven't watched yet, but I saw what that's about and how that show got down. So, and then we have shows like Atlanta, and the reason I'm bringing up all of this is I'm looking at this story like there is no way in hell they would have ever okayed a story that at some point a chick would be raped while she laid on the wife, while the wife and husband were fully clothed, and a Bible verse was read over it, and then Onward Christian Soldier played in the background. Like, take away you ever watching that show. If somebody came up to you like, hey, like in the 90s or in the early 2000s and told you, hey, a show like that would exist, you'd be like, what? Because that's even crazier. Like, think about if you've ever seen Oz. Oz was crazy. There's men on there doing what they were doing. It was crazy. This right here is crazy already because that's the first damn episode. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at this and I find it dope that we can explore. Dog, they was whenever they said a Bible verse in this, there was some wickedness attached to it. like, you know what I mean? Like, what's it? Cast out thy right eye or something like that. And the chick's eye got taken out because she was popping off at the mouth. Yo, it was crazy. Okay, so let's get into that. The indoctrination. They had that down pat. The indoctrination is crazy. Okay, so first they come in and they're labeling off all these reasons why the old world is wicked. Which, by the way, this first episode lays the groundwork for me being, I want to see everything. I want to see the other side, who they're fighting the war against. I want to see how they get down, because who's to say they don't have zealotry? So I can't wait to see that. So she's listing off all the bad things they've done. And when they say they, we see a priest hanging. So they got a problem with that form of the religion. They have a doctor. They have a problem with modern science. And a homosexual. They have a problem with people living their lives however they want to live it. And they're killing them and they're trying to purge them. And I'm looking at this like, man, so we're clear. I know people be like, oh, that's an overstatement. There are some people who would be fine with the world like that. So when I said something like, at some point we would have to fight and kill people like this. Yeah, we would, because there's no people like that. There's no talking it out of diplomacy. like what? Okay. But the indoctrination was crazy. So the girl is like, she is who she is. And I was gonna make a joke, but I was like, nah, this ain't the time. But she just seemed like a modern, forget millennial, like a zoomer as they call them. She seemed like, man, get this whack shit the fuck up out of here. And how just easy that lady, I forget her name, the older lady, the one doing the indoctrinating, she just zaps her. Boom. Everything about the indoctrination was easy because they're like, okay, go take her away. She comes back, I gone. Then they have that meeting and they make her talk about her deepest, darkest moment. Now, like I said, I'm like, oh, this is terrible, because they're probably gonna play it like, this is what, look at how the past was. Look at how terrible the place was. So she comes further to their side, and then they took it to another place. Whose fault was it? And it was like, yo, okay, they put that to the extreme, but let this be clear. There are people out there who think that it's women's fault because they dressed a certain way. The reason that's stupid is, so are y'all saying we just shouldn't be locking motherfuckers up for committing those acts? Because if we're locking them up for committing those acts, we not blaming no one else. It's them who did it. I don't give a fuck what you was wearing. I don't give a fuck, oh, she was leading them on. You's a scumbag rapist. And for that woman to say that, I was like, but that wasn't it with the indoctrination. So they had the, I believe she called it a salvage. I believe that's what she called it. They're all standing around and she says, hey, somebody got raped, baby died. And I'm like, he almost certainly didn't rape her. They had, they had a relationship. Okay. I did not expect them to have them just straight up jump them. But I'm like, oh, these people are wicked in a real way, because all that hate and bitterness they have for them, they like, hey, no, take it out right there. You saw how she was. She was crying because her friend, who she had known from before, she's crying and she's like, yo. And then she went and took out that fucking anger. And then she snapped back like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, they got this down pat. Like, they knew how to keep these girls in line, because we treat them like livestock, but they humans. And at some point, they're going to flip on us. So every once in a while, we're going to throw them a bone, while at the same time, the bone we throw them will be what we tell them is wrong and what it should never be like. Dog, that's some hellified shit. Okay. Now, early on, the pious chick, who was her, as they say, battle buddy, we see her first and we're like, oh, she's pious. And you're like, what? But I noticed off bat, like, oh, no. They're hiding from each other. They'd ask somebody something and you see the look on their face. And because they got these things that act almost as blinders, they're looking to, you know what I mean? Like, So to see by the end, she's like, I thought you was the pious bitch. Like, you know what I mean? And then to come to find out she had a wife. And she had given birth, and dog, the fact that this whole storyline is like crazy to me because I'm like, hey, this is so simple but so hellified, and it could go anyway. I'm interested in seeing where it goes. And then she tells her when she leaves, it's the eye that lives there. I'm like, who's the eye? I don't think it's the Martha chick, because that Martha chick, she stank. I want to get more into them. I want to understand why they grumps like that. Is it they at one point could give birth and they've gotten too old? Like maybe they've gone through menopause or something like that. Maybe they were just, because she said something about like it was something they had fought for. You know, the old ways or something like that. You know what I mean? But it seemed like it was a shallow explanation. I don't think it's that guy who saw her. I don't think that. And it would be too easy if it was the lady. So, man, I'm not sure. The wife. And that's another thing. All of this is people trying to reject their humanity, right? And so, like, that woman has to sit there while her husband smashes another chick. And she has to feel okay, even though she knows she's barren, the word they would use. Think about how y'all feel about that just nowadays. But now she's there and she has to hide that. The same way all of them have to hide, the handmaids, those wives got to hide. They can't be like, hey, man, like this is some bullshit. Like, what? Nah, they can't do that. They got to get in line, too. I'm sure that commander, even though, and this is how wicked they were, they tried to make that whole situation seem like it was holy and pure. Everybody kept their clothes on. You know, the wife was involved. They read passages. And I just feel like there's something dirty and dark about him. You know what I mean? Like the way they played the wife to seem as if she's a certain way, I feel like the husband is probably the worst. Right? Hey, man, I'm looking forward to this next episode.